All right, how you guys doing today? We about to get into Romans chapter 10. First things first, though, make sure you like that video, hit a little exit full screen, scroll a little bit, like it, and then full screen it back up. You feel me? So my essay about science not disproving creation, but in effect, just kind of lying basically. It's not done. It was supposed to be done yesterday. It's supposed to be done the day before that and the day before that one. But you know what I'm saying, the way I write essays, it takes so long. I get on tangents and I keep making point after point after point, and I need to research and get sources and sources, and it's just a whole long thing that I don't want to have to do. So it's not finished. But I talked to my English teacher. He said I'm not even gonna have a chance to look at them until whenever. So get it in whenever. And I said, I bet. You don't gotta tell me twice, bro. So that's on pause. Today I gotta finish my French essay. So it's an essay in French, written in French. Yesterday my staff meeting for our rateship got canceled. So I was able to go to the youth group. We went there. It was senior night, so really all he did was prophesy and pray over the seniors. Nothing really happened after. Little talks after. I was working on my essay through the thing. I was praying when we was praying, but working on my essay through the thing. None of the two that I mentioned. It's a different one. It's a reflection essay. So I was working on that. You can tell it's really finals time, right? And then after, one of the guys was talking about typing, because me and him were typing. He was back there doing some work next to me, so we did type quest, type racer, whatever, a typing testing. Bro types way too fast. It's inhumane. So yeah, that's what my schedule's looking like. So I'll do that Wednesday and Thursday. I'll finish that one and go back to working on the English one. And I have a, oh no, actually today I'll finish the French one. Wednesday I'll be studying for my bio final on Thursday, and then Thursday, since I have till 11:59, I'll finish the reflection essay. So Friday, I'll go back to working on the creation essay, I believe. But my final for my ethics class is like the 7th, the 8th, or the 9th. I don't remember. So there's that too. Just so you guys can get a glimpse of my schedule. And I'm just praying, like, God, let me see you more. Let me focus on you more. It's not that I should be stressing over all this stuff. You're going to take care of me. So I've been praying just for God to allow me to keep him in my sights so that, I stay blessed. So I stay blessed and realize that all this is inconsequential. This is stuff of the world, it doesn't really matter. Not necessarily that this, I don't think this is necessarily my calling, being a teacher in school and all this stuff. But at the same time, this is the avenue I'm pursuing with the glory of God in mind. So I just got to look to him and he'll make it happen. I just got to pray about it and he'll make it happen. I'll be okay. We be chilling. We good. That's that. It's my schedule if you guys cared. Brothers and sisters, my heart's desire and prayer to God for the Israelites is that they may be saved. For I can testify about them that they are zealous for God, but their zeal is not based on knowledge. Since they did not know the righteousness of God and sought to establish their own, they did not submit to God's righteousness. Christ is the culmination of the law so that there may be righteousness for everyone who believes. Moses writes about the righteousness that is by the law. The person who does these things will live by them. But the righteousness that is by faith says, do not say in your heart, who will ascend into heaven? That is, to bring Christ down. Or, who will descend into the deep? That is, to bring Christ up from the dead. But what it does say, the world is near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart. That is, the message concerning faith that we proclaim. If you declare with your mouth, Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. As scripture says, anyone who believes in him will never be put to shame. For there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord of all, and richly blesses all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. How then can they call on one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in one whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. But not all the Israelites accepted the good news. For Isaiah says, Lord, who has believed our message? Consequently, faith comes from hearing the message, and the message is heard through the word about Christ. But I ask, did they not hear? Of course they did. Their voice has gone out into all the earth, their words to the end of the world. Again I ask, did Israel not understand? First Moses says, I will make you envious by those who are not a nation. I will make you angry by a nation that has no understanding. And Isaiah boldly says, I was found by those who did not seek me. I revealed myself to those who did not ask for me. But concerning Israel, he says, all day long I have held out my hands to a disobedient and obstinate people. That sounds like it leads into the next chapter. I did watch like 3 sermons today, and in which he said, that you do have to remember that this is a letter. And I feel as if I'm doing a good job at remembering that. Even when I've been reading it, this is a letter, which is why I'm, referencing things it said in the past chapters, because it wasn't chapters. It was just one big letter of thoughts and ideas that this should pass. And one of the things that shocked me was that chapters and verse divisions didn't come out until the 15th century, I think he said, which is low-key crazy. I don't understand when it says, don't say who shall ascend into heaven, for that brings Christ down from above, or who shall descend into the deep, because that's to bring Christ up from the dead. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't understand. Jesus is Lord, and the Lord is Lord of all, and richly blesses all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. This isn't talking about blessings on earth. I mean, you can be blessed on earth, but it's in a different sense, as we know from, I think it's Matthew 10, around Matthew 10, the verse about the sparrows, their flight is considered, and so is the hairs on every one of your head, which shows you the gross motor movements. This was part of my essay. The gross motor movements of a sparrow, they're less than or equal to the amount of hairs on your head. The gross motor movements, everything on the earth that has to happen for a bird to fly, to bring itself down to the ground. So the fact that gravity has to work, the fact that it has the wings that can descend it, the fact that it's living, it has a heart, lungs, and a design to keep it alive, to be able to hit the ground after flying, is less than or equal to the fact that God knows the number of hairs on your head, which is so inconsequential to us. And the one, I believe it's in Matthew 6, maybe, who knows, that says, don't worry about what you shall eat, drink, or whatever, because the ravens in the field, they don't sow, but God makes sure they reap. And the flowers, they don't have clothes, but God makes sure that they, they decked out. I think it was the flowers. Yeah, it was Matthew 6. Look at me. I said, look at them birds in the air. They don't sow or reap or store anything, but they get fed. They're not more valuable than you. And by worrying, you can't add a single hour to your life. So it's not necessarily earthly blessings, but being saved, that's the biggest blessing of all. That's the richest blessing of them all. My chest is sore. I did chest and tries yesterday. I don't think I usually feel my chest after and feel if it's sore. Typically, I won't necessarily feel the soreness if I'm just existing. I won't notice if I'm sore, but you saw me. I accidentally grazed it or whatever. And I felt it. I said, "Ooh, my triceps don't feel sore. I don't feel any aching with them." But I did back and buys today, and that was hurting. So tomorrow, hopefully my whole arm is dead. I also don't really understand this verse. How can they call on one who they have not believed in? I understand that because it's referencing this. Everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. But they can't call on him if they don't believe in him. How can they believe in the one whom they have not heard? So have they not heard him, or if they have not heard the message? Which one is that talking about? I'm going to assume they can't believe in him because they haven't heard of him. But how can they hear without somebody preaching to them? Meaning they can't call on him if they haven't been preached to. And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? But then he just ties it back into the Israelites. But I still think it's good because this references that, we're still supposed to be disciples that make disciples. We're supposed to preach and be sent. Because if we learn the good news, we're supposed to be the ambassadors of Christ, which means because we know the good news, we are being called to be sent. Therefore, we are supposed to make it so that everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved, and that everyone who calls on him is everybody who knows, because we told everybody. You feel me? And this is from a psalm. And I was just talking to my teacher about my abortion paper, which you guys can go check that video out. Abortion is Murder, my paper, that video. And he said a lot of things. And at one point I said that David was given the inspired word of God in Psalms. So I don't really know. So I just looked it up, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of research as well. So we're going to check that out. We're going to check that out. And I'll come back to you and let y'all know. And then I'll read this little chunk before we hit the next chapter. All right. That's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.